And welcome to RIP Facebook Organic Reach, How to Move On. My name is Barry Williams.
And I'm Rachel Foles. Thanks for being here today.
Sorry, it's a little slide issues.
That's okay. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing here at Circle. And for those of you who don't know what Circle is, we provide AI-powered communications to organizations of all sizes. So using the stuff that our clients are already producing, like their website content, their video, social media, intranet stuff, Circle's AI automatically curates and creates and delivers personalized content experiences for your audience on web, mobile, internet, and email.
So we're really excited to share everything that we've learned and what we're doing here at Circle to deal with Facebook in this post-organic outreach world. But I wanted to go over some of the housekeeping items first. We're going to have a formal Q&A session at the end, but you're welcome to submit your questions whenever you like, and we'll get to them as we can. And you're always welcome to keep the conversation going afterwards on Twitter. You can reach us at Circle.
So we thought we'd start off by discussing the state of Facebook before we jump into the tips and best practices and what we're trying here at Circle.
Yep, and so you can concentrate on the content, we're going to be going camera off now. So just 1 second. All right, now we're gone.
Hopefully they don't miss us.
Well, if they do, they can send it to us as a question. Maybe we can come back. So we're going to get started by reviewing some key statistics related to Facebook. It's in a constant state of flux. We're even seeing a hashtag trending this week of #DeleteFacebook. So the stats are accurate as of when we found them in preparation for this webinar. So things may have changed, but I think they're as good as we can do in the moment. So 2.2 billion users on Facebook, larger than any country in the world. And the users are really the heart of the social network. Having a close, well-connected network will pay dividends as you increase your engagement. The power lies in the network. An individual alone can't accomplish much. I know I like to try out new social networks as they come out, and there was one that looked really cool, but I had no friends on there, so it was just me posting updates to the void. And I think in addition to the 2.2 billion users, a good way of contextualizing that is in the US, 72% of adults visit Facebook at least once a month. Of those remaining 28%, 50% of them live with somebody in their house who does use Facebook.
So it sounds like Facebook touches most US adults then.
Yes.
So according to Nielsen, Americans spend an average of 10 hours and 39 minutes consuming media across their devices. So while content consumption is up, it might surprise you to find out that the amount of time spent on Facebook per day has actually decreased a little bit. The current average amount of time spent on Facebook is 35 minutes a day, and that's down from 40 minutes back in 2014. I've even seen this in my own Facebook usage.
Yeah, I think now I'm kind of in the get reminded about my friends' birthdays state of using Facebook, and then obviously what we use Facebook for advertising and all of our work functions. So every 60 seconds on Facebook, there are 317,000 status updates, 400 new users are added, 147,000 photos are uploaded, and 54,000 links are shared. This is a good representation of what it's like trying to get your content seen on Facebook. Facebook has said that the average user has access from anywhere to 1,500 to 15,000 posts per day, but only looks at 300. The algorithm is where this comes into play. It's really taking those thousands of factors or signals that Facebook has to determine which posts should be among that 300 that you're actually getting served in your newsfeed. It's basically how Facebook curates an overwhelming amount of content into a manageable chunk for that individual user. This is an opportunity for us to kind of get your feedback. So are you feeling like your content is getting lost on Facebook? Let me pull up a poll question for you. We'll give you about 30 seconds to answer. Simple yes or no. I know personally I'm feeling a lot of that. Just our reach is really dropping, especially post-algorithm change. Wow, yes, about 82% of you have voted. So I'll give you about another 5 to 10 seconds to see if we can get that final 15%. All right, wow, yeah, I think the results aren't going to be surprising, but it's it's a big number. So of the audience here, 97% are saying yes, that they feel their content is getting lost on Facebook, and there's a lucky 3% out there that aren't feeling that.
So Facebook business pages are about 11 years old, but they've become vital to your business success. We'll do a brief history to kind of figure out where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So Facebook's first test of targeted content was the launch of Gwen Stefani's cheerleading-inspired song, Holla Back Girl, for those of you who remember that. So they used the interest data to figure out who likes cheerleading, and ads were targeted to those users. So that was kind of their first taste of targeting. In 2007, business pages were launched. Now, I was working at a TV station then. We had a friend page, and it was like, should we do it, should we not? Because for a while, it was optional to convert to a business page. Did you have that same experience?
Yeah, so I was working in the nonprofit sector still, and we definitely had that experience of trying to figure out if we wanted to make that switch, because particularly in something like the nonprofit world is like about sense of community, and we weren't sure if like over monetized or like made it feel more corporate to make the shift. So it's definitely a lot of conversations, but like everyone else, we eventually made that decision.
And there were some exciting features with that, like insights, and those have only gotten better over time. In 2010, they began allowing publishers to do sponsored posts. And then in 2012, just 5 years into the major mobile revolution, Facebook went mobile first in design and experience, and that has really led their development.
Yes, and then we're going to see a lot of new ad products coming out over the next couple of years. So 2015, lead ads are introduced, Canvas, Facebook Messenger for Business, Facebook Instant Articles introduced 2016, and then they wanted to go even quicker on the mobile load. So kind of like Google, they began to penalize those whose pages weren't loading well. So if you had a slow load time, it was hurting your chances of getting onto the newsfeed. And then the next big change, the reason we're all here today, is the algorithm change that happened to all of us in January, which made brands less valuable than friends.
But for Facebook, these algorithm changes are really about revenue. Even though 93% of social media advertisers are using Facebook, Facebook plays a major role in the social media advertisers toolbox. I think any of us that are here today know how important it is to use it for advertising. But they're pulling in $40 billion last year. And that's on the backs of the businesses that counted on Facebook to distribute their content. So we have a question for you guys. Who here in this webinar audience is using Facebook ads? And see how our statistics match up with the national ones. We'll give you about 30 seconds.
Yep. Wow, yeah, I think definitely showing that it's a large part of a lot of people who are working on the social media space. 94% have voted, so I think we are going to close it in about 5 seconds. Thank you everyone for your participation. All right, here are the results. About a solid 2/3 of you are currently using Facebook. A third of you are not, and then we have 3% who are planning on starting to use Facebook advertising. We're going to go into a lot more strategies about how you can effectively use Facebook or Facebook advertising. So we will be going over that shortly.
But even as we looked at this revenue chart, which would be the happiest revenue chart for any business.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the thing in the office was this feeling of whoa.
Yeah, it's just. We knew it was big, but we're pretty blown away when we saw the actual numbers. So we all know it, organic reach is dropping, and pay-to-play is increasingly going to be part of the strategy. Facebook will be prioritizing the content from your friends and family over brands, like we said, and then they'll be doing this by looking at how users are engaging with your content.
And they've always looked at how users engage with the content, but they're getting closer and closer to really figuring out what engagement means to the platform.
We're seeing a lot more demonstrated engagement or trying to stretch how people are engaging.
So this is our sad chart. I'm calling it our sad chart. This is our organic reach for the Circle page. For those of you who aren't familiar, organic reach is referring to how many people you can reach for free on Facebook just by posting to your page. Organic reach hasn't really been great for a long time. Since 2012, admins have noticed a decline in that organic reach. So we get the pages 5 years later. Of course, for that 5 years, it was a Wild West. It was excellent. You were always seeing great reach, even just boosting a post, $10, you reached thousands of people. Back in 2015, a study showed that organic reach was at 2.6%. It's even lower today. Because of this algorithm change and changes to the ranking factor, it's even more difficult for your brands to reach the audience that you worked so hard to build up. So we're getting some questions you want to cover.
Yeah, so we had a quick question. Are Facebook ads different than promoted posts? Say yes and no. So promoted posts are definitely a way of advertising, but it doesn't provide you with all of the features of using something like Facebook Ads Manager. So there are a lot of ways to advertise. We're going to be going through them in a later section, but promoted posts definitely, and advertisement, but there are a lot of other options out there. So this is one of the big changes that came out of the most recent algorithm update, is that there's no more engagement bait, which from a user perspective, I love. I know that I've kind of grown tired of seeing, use wow face to make your 2018 goal of being fitter. I see a lot as a sports fan of who had the best touchdown or goal over the weekend. Use a heart for Mesut Ozil. But these efforts were always kind of low effort, in my opinion, and really just trying to game the system.
And it really promoted content that was less valuable to users, and it took advantage of people's desire to interact.
Yeah. So there's the vote baiting like we discussed, and then also like reaction baiting. So like this post if you agree. I know I saw a lot of that during the last campaign cycle. And then share baiting, which is similar to react baiting, but asking you to share.
Now reactions really matter. Facebook is looking for scalable ways to measure engagement, and these reactions, although they were something that users asked for, are a major part of the shift. It's been 2 years, which it feels like shorter since they introduced all these reaction options. For the longest time, for the first 10 years of Facebook, it was just the like. Now you can love, you can laugh, you can wow, you can cry, you can be mad. Any type of engagement, such as a like, a comment, a view time, or share, they're given a weighted score in the algorithm. Everything beside the like is worth more points in the Facebook algorithm now. So a like used to be the gold standard. Now it's more like the bronze standard.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, though, fundamentally this algorithm change means that if a Facebook user likes a friend's post and a brand's post the same exact way, the weight of the like for the friend will be more than the brand.
And then the weight of the wow reaction will be higher than the like. And I think one of the reasons why it feels like it's been less than 2 years is because Facebook has been iterating the changes to the reactions so much. I remember it first popped up for me on mobile, then it hit the desktop, and now they're changing the way it's delivered. So that way, instead of like having to click and then hover, it's all presented to you at once to try to make it a little easier. And I think this is an example of what I was talking about, kind of like stretching what engagement looks like, because it takes a little bit more effort to do the heart over the like.
Right, because the like is the default option, but I have to say, as a Facebook user, the like feels cheap now.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like I'm giving them the person that I'm trying to interact with. I'm not giving them a honest, engaging reaction. I just give them the like.
True. Although I still haven't figured out how to use them well, personally as a user. Like if there's an article about a cause that I'm really passionate about, but it's depressing in nature, like famine relief or something. I love the cause, but I don't really want to put a heart on it. So I think there's still a little bit of nuance that at least I'm trying to figure out.
And something we're going to be talking about is the way that you phrase posts as an organization to elicit the reaction that you're after. So when you're posting that as a nonprofit, you have to think about what reaction are you trying to elicit. Is it the love, is it the wow, or is it the sad?
Yeah. Even though we're talking about a lot of the changes and the potential of the hashtag delete Facebook trending out there, I still think it's worth it. And I wanted to cover that for a second. It's worth it, but you now have to give a lot of thought to your content and how people are going to engage with your content, as Rachel just pointed out. While it's more work, it's still worth it. So ask a young person. One of the ways that an intern at our office told us that she figures out if a business is quote unquote real is if they have a website, if they have a Facebook account, and if they're on a Google map listing. Those are really still the key indicators that show the legitimacy of some businesses. And I think another reason why it's still worth using Facebook is that Facebook takes up 22% of the internet time Americans spend on mobile devices. That's a huge number, but it blew me away when you compare it to the combined use of Google search and YouTube, which is at 11% for those two. So it's twice the use of Google search and YouTube combined. Looks like we just got another question. Let me click over to that. So hold on for a second. Do you know how much the reactions are weighted? I know they're weighted more than the like, but are there numbers to which the reaction is best?
Thank you for that question. I did some deep research into this because that's what I wanted to know, is sad or mad because they're stronger, emotions worth more. And there wasn't any publicly available information to tell us what it was worth. Algorithms are very proprietary, so they're kind of secretive about that kind of stuff. The only thing that I could confirm is that there is a difference between a reaction and a like.
Yeah.
But thank you for that question.
And I do take solace in the fact that there are a lot of other people out there who are trying to figure this out, so we should be learning more and more, but the algorithm will always be changing, so it's a bit of a catch-up game.
Yes, it's a moving target, no doubt about it. So in the next section, we're going to do a checkup of your Facebook page to make sure that you have it optimized for information success. So for those of you who haven't gone poking in your Facebook settings in a while, I was really pleased to discover these template options. If your Facebook offers business page templates that can help you get a jump start on getting your display perfect. The options are standard business venues, nonprofit, politicians, services, restaurants, shopping, and video creator. Of course, you might not see your exact fit organization there, but they just have different call to action. They have different display types. They order the information differently. So play with these. Get in there, try one, see how it looks. Don't like it, try another one. It might be an unexpected match, the template that you find yourself using. You can always reorder the sections once you complete your template. You can drag and drop and make sure that about is first, or posts are first, or videos are first. Facebook gives you some flexibility.
Yeah, and I know that there are some consultants who are attending today, and some of the businesses might be on the line. So definitely see what's out there, see what works best. This is going back to the drum I always beat of A/B testing, but use the metrics to see what's actually helping you convert and get the most out of the tool.
And I just go for pretty. Which one is the prettiest?
So work well.
Yes.
One thing to make sure that you're setting up well is that cover photo. Dimensions are 851 by 315. I really like to think of it as kind of the welcome mat, introduction to who you are and what you do. And there's some really cool things that you can be doing with cover photos. You can create one for an upcoming event that you're holding, or to celebrate the holiday, or if you just reached a new milestone, you can put up a really cool celebratory photo. This is a place to discuss who you are, what you're doing, and what makes you so awesome. Another thing that you can do that I haven't tested because I've had some concerns with it is putting a video up there. While it looks cool, it has had an adverse effect on load times. So I haven't done it because I don't want to make a barrier to people seeing all of our content on Facebook.
And as mobile focused as Facebook is, it's surprised to me they've placed such a high priority on that. And just a quick note about your cover photo. When you upload one, of course you want it to look beautiful, but also think about making a photo caption for that and a call to action within the photo caption. If they were to click on that cover photo, are they just going to get a blank nothing, or are they going to actually hear the story, or where to register, or how to join you? So your about section is kind of still a sandbox. You can still play here, you can still add links, you can still do things. So looking at your about section, list your website URL as the first item, so they can show up in the page layout, and also brings people to your website where they can do different things. Make sure your phone number, your address, your other social media handles, your hours of operation are up to date. Those hours of operation are really, really important. People surprisingly use Facebook a lot like Yelp, and look at that for the business hours, especially on holidays. So another thing, if you aren't already doing it, to start doing are milestones. These are business celebrations. So they're kind of like life events. They're placed on your timeline in the same structure where it has a flag. So like Barry, when you got married, you have a little flag that says Barry got married. Yeah. But these are for your business. So we did one when we surpassed 1.5 million users here at Circle, and we did a milestone. It also gives me a log as a marketer of when we crested those milestones and a place to celebrate them.
Yeah. Another thing that I like to suggest with the About page is if you're using Facebook at all to either interact with current or potential customers, list the information about your messenger protocol. If you're only going to be available at certain times, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, whatever it is, let your audience know so that you can set the expectations of what the turnaround time would be like for when they submit a message to you.
And I think Target is a great example here. I mean, who doesn't love Target? And they're very informational in their About section. They include their mission, some products, more information, and how you can get in contact with them. Yeah. It's a very strong About Us page.
Really enjoy that the bullseye debut is a milestone that they listed.
I mean, shouldn't it be the?
Yeah, no,
I mean, it's strong.
It's Target.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of call to action buttons available to you. So the list is here. I'm not going to be that guy who reads off the entire list to you, but we're up to 14 total. That's a 50% increase, or 50% more than we saw a few years ago. So you want to make sure that your call to action aligns with your goals and is appropriate for your audience. A few examples that we have are, if you're looking to drive appointments, choose the book now option. That way you can drive people to your Calendly link if that's what you use, but whatever you're using to book the appointments. I know, I believe she's out there. One of my friends runs a wedding design company. She designs dresses, and this would be a great use for her, so that way she can kind of automate some of that booking experience instead of having people call her when she's booking another appointment. Just a way of streamlining things. And if you're looking to get people to make a purchase, Shop Now is pretty perfect for that. And I know here at Circle and a lot of our customers, we use the sign up because we're getting people to sign up for the Circle newsletters that are available. Again, highly suggest that you test different calls to action so that you can see what's best with your audience. You're not married to any of these, and so keep trying until you find the one that works for you, and really then just optimize it.
And just remember, your page is like another digital front door. It's like a secondary website. So you should be looking at it and how people are going to see it when they arrive. For the average Facebook user, there are 1,500 to 15,000, kind of depends, that could show up in any time. So make sure that if you can, ask them to see you first in the newsfeed. This is for your super fans. This is for the people who want to make sure they're seeing all your posts. So it's a big ask. I would be careful with who you ask it of, but I think it's still interesting that you can personalize your newsfeed just a little bit. And you can even do this for people.
Yeah, I've been playing with this lately.
Yeah.
So I've been putting C first on a lot of brands that I really enjoy, like St. Elizabeth Healthcare locally. And there's a great way of making sure that I'm able to see it. We just received a question, so I'm going to actually pop back a slide if you don't mind. And we're going to ask a question or answer a question about call to action buttons. So she asked, do you think people are afraid to commit to book now? Is learn more approachable? I think yes and no. It really depends. It's one of those things that you're going to have to test to learn more about what your audience reacts to. Book more definitely is more of a commitment. And learn more could get people to your website, which could be a good way of converting them with even more information. So it could be part of a booking flow of get more information, learn it on the website, and then they can book on your website.
I think it depends on the service and the audience. So for instance, if you were like a hair or some service provider like that, where the immediate action and you could go right to a booking page and it's all taken care of, I think that's really good. But if you think that the buying journey may be a longer period, then learn more, and making sure that where they land is mobily magnificent and optimized, and even think about making a page specifically for the people who saw you on Facebook.
Yeah.
So if you're not really sure, you want to make sure you're checking it off. Facebook itself is a really great resource for best practices around each vertical. We'll share that with you after the webinar.
Yeah, and just for a quick aside, I just really enjoyed this cover photo. I think it's a great example of tying in branding elements with some fun and levity. I like the use of the red to complete the dot background. Just fun for me.
It is a great one. So I'm a content gal, always have been. And the value and vibrancy of your content helps drive engagement. We're going to go over some strategies to make your content count. It's important to recognize that algorithm changes just can't be ignored. You're going to need to adjust your strategy over and over again and not just hope that the same thing that you've always done will continue to work, because it won't. So now we're going to show you what we've been working on.
So here at Circle, we've looked at literally billions of data points related to communications, from our communications as well as from the customers of Circle. And we found that the best communications do two things. They add value to the reader and save the reader time. We were talking about all of the noise that's out there just on Facebook, but when you add on all of the other digital noise, email, other social channels, news,
Twitter,
combination of all of those on Twitter,
yeah.
much more. You need to position yourself as a provider of value and time savings to your audience so that they're actually looking forward to reading your communications instead of it just being one more draining on their value at the time.
So the first thing you need to do is develop a posting strategy. Your posting strategy is going to vary based on your needs and audience. A great place to start looking into what posts are working best for you now and creating more content like that are your Facebook stats. If you're a Circle client, your Circle Insights, because your Circle Insights data tells you exactly what your audience wants more of. Or your website stats could work too, and your social media tools. Social media scheduling tool Buffer did a really good job on their case study on their Facebook page posting strategy. It's really strong. They went into all the stats. So we'll share that with you after today's webinar. And I think it's a great place to start.
Yeah, it was really interesting just to read through how they approached it. It's not gonna be a copy and paste job. You're not Buffer unless Buffer's here. So take what they're doing, but look at it through a critical lens of what your organization needs and then adjust accordingly.
And also what bandwidth your organization has to devote.
Yes. And then back to the thing I love the most, use your data. There's a ton of data available to you for your Facebook business page, and if you're using Facebook advertising through the Ads Manager as well. So you can figure out what's working with your audience, best times to post, frequency of posting. Getting comfortable with your data will help you take away that guessing elements of creating content and help you really narrow down and define your posting strategy. And then keywords are key. Winky face emoji.
I saw what you did there.
I was proud of it.
Yeah, you should be.
No shame. But choosing the right keywords for your Facebook audience is important to the success for your Facebook presence. You'll want to place your targeted keywords in the most important strategic parts of your page to make them visible on the front page and appear in search results. So those would be the URL, page title, the About Us section. When you're choosing keywords, really think through what is most likely to activate your audience. Taking a look at the stats like we were just going over is a great place to start. If you have Google Analytics, I really suggest looking at how people are getting to your website, what keywords are triggering them to get to your website. Another great tool that we've been using is the Google Keyword Planner. So
nice.
Yeah, you can just type in what you're thinking and it provides you with a really large list of keywords. I was going through one this morning and trying to take out the ones that weren't useful, but it was, the term was employee engagement, and we received 600 or so terms that would show up as Google searches.
Well, this is marketing that touches the outside Facebook as well. It's a good check-in point to figure out if your message is resonating with people.
Yeah.
And so it's valuable.
It's great continuity between channels as well.
When you're posting content, make sure that you have posts worth talking about. Conversations are so valuable with this algorithm change. Ultimately, that is the thing. So when the conversation does begin, be sure to react and reply. In this post, this is one of our clients, Oakley Wines. They use this beautiful visual that's made very hungry every day for the last 2 weeks. And they were quick to reply when the conversation began. So I think that's what they did well here. They know their audience, they know who they're talking to, and they know the right things to say.
Yeah, I have definite opinions on what should be on a cheese plate or not. So I would probably be like the person who's been whited out there with their name at least, but that's pretty much how I would describe my optimal cheese plate. More cheese, less meat.
But what about the nuts? They say less nuts.
Oh, I like nuts, yeah. But I'm a vegetarian, so I need protein.
That's true.
Getting people to share is also extremely important. This is a great example from Circle client Purdue alumni of a post that one of the alumni members put up of their son continuing to ask to hear the Purdue fight song. So I think it's a smart post for a variety of reasons. Kids are second to cats in terms of cuteness on the internet, so you automatically get that bump. And then the fight song is like a nice trigger for the nostalgia of being in school. So I just thought it was a really smart way of encouraging shares, which is really important with the algorithm change.
And this one is really great for the algorithm change as well, because this could possibly trigger shares to messengers, which are excellent. The algorithm loves it.
We have a quick question on comments and description. Do emojis help or hurt things get seen?
So we tested the idea of the text reactions, and they don't work on pages. So a text reaction that a brand replies to someone with, they will not get the text reaction that you would get. Let's say if I were to say congrats to Barry, it would give that exploding, amazing visual across the screen. So we know that that doesn't work for brand pages, but they do not seem to penalize people for using emojis.
No,
I've seen.
And it might be an interesting test to see if use of emojis in your copy elicits further emoji reactions. So
Emoji beget emoji.
Exactly. So not use heart to vote for Mezzano's old school this weekend, but putting in a heart to see if that just triggers people to think more about emojis. Very cool question. Thank you.
Yes.
Just find the right screen. There we go. And I think it's really important to leverage your network. This is an example from Sarah Jackson, our Vice President of Engagement Solutions at Circle, who has a really amazing network of people who work in communications.
Some of you might be here.
Looking at the stats this morning, at least a quarter of registrants. But Sarah shared the post. She was very nice to me and you, which made me blush a little bit. But she was able to tap into her network and really expand the reach outside of just the Circle network, because not all of her friends follow Circle, even though if you're one of them out there, we would appreciate the follow.
That's true.
But the tip here is really to figure out who in your network would be both interested in what you're promoting and have the appropriate network to share the content with. So sharing, asking your staff to share it, asking your staff to react is also important. And if you can throw in that note, as you can see from the screenshot, I love the post to help with the organic reach of it. So when you're asking your staff, be very specific and ask what you need. That way you can get the most out of their time.
I would just watch out to not do every single post that your organization posts, so you're not just seen as a mouthpiece and people begin to not want to interact with you there. I think finding the Venn diagram of the things that your organization is interesting in, the things your people are interested in, and that sweet spot of content there in the middle, that's the stuff to share. And for Sarah's network, Facebook reach was obviously something that was very big to them.
Yeah, I think it ties back into the general point of the saving time or adding value.
And knowing your audience.
Exactly. So if you don't think that your audience is going to find value in what you're doing, don't do it. Wait until you have that and then take your shot, because you don't want to waste your opportunities with your audience.
Facebook is all about video. They're getting 8 billion video views a day. So it's time to develop a video strategy if you haven't already. Remember that ultimately, the big play for Facebook is to keep people in the app, on the site, using it. Video is a big win for them because it increases their time on site and it helps drive more valuable ads. I think barrier entry for video is lower and lower every single day. You can make a great video on your phone with cheap free editing tools, just iMovie on your phone, or you could use Windows Movie Maker if you're not an Apple person. One little note, this is just a personal thing. Maybe it's working in TV so long, please use a tripod.
Yes.
Buy the tripod. It's like $16 on Amazon with a little top mount. It's worth its weight in gold.
You want to give your phone to your over-caffeinated coworker to try to take a good shot of you.
And then, a microphone if you can spare the extra $37. It's a very nice microphone on Amazon.
Yeah, and they sell some really cool ones that just plug into the if you have a phone that's older than an iPhone 7, that can go directly into the headphone.
That's why I haven't upgraded. Make sure to include subtitles as well. That's great for those with hearing impairments or for those who just don't want to play the video with the audio running. Facebook has their own file type for closed captioning. It's a type of SRT, which is the file type for closed captions. After the webinar, let's share out that SRT file maker thing that we use over and over again.
Really helpful.
Yep.
There are a few strategies that you can try with Facebook are using Facebook Live. Some content that you can do on Facebook Live would be posting a live Q&A, celebrating an award or event, or one of the accomplishments of your clients. So a great way of just getting it out there. You can promote these, through either boosted posts or ads. And one thing that I like that's kind of passive free promotion is that when you go live, Facebook will pop up a little notification on the desktop version of the site to show that you're now live and people can click over. I'd love to hear what you are doing with Facebook video. So is video part of your current Facebook strategy? I know that we're using it to interact directly with our customers. So we have our customer success team every other week doing just a live Q&A. Spontaneously, our CEO will pop by, although most good spontaneity is planned because you want to make sure that you're coming off professional and engaging. All right, I'll give you 4 more seconds. Great, thank you everyone for sharing. I'm going to share your results now. It's close to an even split. So 47% are using Facebook, 53% are not. In retrospect, I should have added the no, but I'm planning on it option. But it's definitely something to consider. And with that barrier to entry being so low now, it doesn't take much to get started. So throw something out there, see if it works with your audience. If it doesn't, move on. If it does, try to figure out how to make that strategy even better.
And with Facebook, it's really key to use their native.
Yes.
So don't share out a YouTube link. Facebook's going to punish people. They want to keep people in that app. So when you're trying to maximize content, I would say think about what Mark UZ wants you to do,
Yes.
and he'll treat you better if you do what he wants to.
Indeed.
So at its core, social media is meant to be a way to connect and build relationships with real people. Go behind the scenes, cut the jargon, let the audience see the real you while still maintaining a little bit of professionalism. Listen to those members in your community, make them feel heard, share content that you know they're interested in or that will solve their problems or inspire them. Social media gives the opportunity for your audience to connect with your business on a human level. So when you understand what engages you and what excites you about the work, that's the more fun you're having, the more human your content's going to be. You can't force engagement. It's a lot like dating. You have to let your audience fall in love with you, and it's all about the way that you behave and interact.
Yeah, I think this is a cool example, just giving people Valentine's Day cards that play off of Xavier-specific themes. So Bill Murray's son, I believe, is an assistant coach up for the Xavier basketball team. So they were able to make a pun based on Bill Murray's name and really create some engaging content.
I did these Valentine's Day cards when I worked at the library too, with book puns.
That'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So Facebook ads, reach, likes, event responses, and shares you were getting before just aren't going to happen in the same way, and it's going to cost you. So we're going to have to start talking about pay to play with Facebook. What was once optional now is nearly essential. So in the post-algorithm change world, it's become more important than ever to be strategic and thoughtful about the money you're spending on social media. You don't just want to throw money at Facebook, even though they would love that. It's a social network, sure, but you need to treat it like it's an advertising platform. Getting likes isn't the ultimate value.
It used to be.
I know, and it's so easy to be happy about it too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got 100 likes, this is amazing. But it's quickly becoming a vanity metric, and you need to start attaching goals and business outcomes to your advertising on Facebooks. So I know that we have a lot of variety of industries out here today. So your ad goals should match your organization goals. Facebook objectives are in 3 major groupings for the ads. So you can have an ad that's trying to generate interest in your product or service, or an objective to get people to start thinking about your business and look for more information about it. And then finally, objectives that encourage people interested in your business to purchase or use your product or service. Each of those 3 groupings contains more specific goals, so you can dig in deeper. I just don't want to read a list of 22 things to people.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice. But they range from everything from increasing traffic to driving sales at your brick and mortar location.
Facebook's added a ton of ad options. Those types are on the screen here. So looking at this list, you could be like, oh man, I remember I could just boost a post for $10 and things would happen. Yeah, that's still an option. You can always boost a post in a hasty moment, but these different ad types are going to offer you flexibility and a better chance to actually reach your goals.
Yeah, I think some good general advice to be successful with Facebook advertising is be visual. Images account for about 75 to 90% of Facebook advertising effectiveness and performance. Simply put, an effective ad must have an effective visual. I know that we spend a lot of time testing. We'll be going through that a little bit more in depth in a few slides. For your copy, keep it short and concise. Really try to hone your message and hit those keywords like we were talking about earlier. And then just to remember, different ad types have different display and call to action options. This is a good example of an ad that I think is effective for branding purposes. This is the Facebook Canvas ad, specifically a Facebook Canvas ad put together by Coca-Cola. Canvas ads are designed specifically for mobile, so people can watch engaging videos, view photos, all in a full screen experience in-app. First kind of looks like a newsfeed ad, but then it expands and takes up the whole screen. Combining video, photos, GIFs, and call to action buttons, it's called a microsite-like experience. People can click, scroll, swipe, etc., all through it. The stats for it are pretty impressive so far. So 53% of users that open a Canvas ad view at least half of it, and the average view time per ad is 31 seconds.
It's really solid. You would dream of that in a pre-roll.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I think it's great for branding.
It is.
We are going to talk about some options of getting people off of Facebook in a few slides and trying to build up your own list so you don't have to be as Facebook dependent.
Yes.
And this is a great example because Coca-Cola doesn't want you to go to Coca-Cola.com and order a Coke. They want you to keep thinking about Coke so the next time you're at the gas station, you pick one up.
Carousel ads are really cool. I like carousel ads a lot. They're an engaging way to promote. They get 72% higher click-through rates versus a single mobile image. It allows an advertiser to show 3 to 5 images, headlines, links, and call to action in a single unit. You see 2 different examples of different approaches to carousel ads here. The Teaks example here is one continuous image they've split up. I think it's like 1080 by 1080. And so people can scroll through and look at it and click on it. The other one is different pictures ordered by Madeira Schools Foundation, another Circle client, that lets people pick which one is interesting to them and click through. This does not cost you any more than a standard single image Facebook ad. I would say it costs you a little bit more on the production side of the front. For the version on the right, the Madeira Schools Foundation, what's key here is that they're telling Facebook, okay, if the second picture does better, put that one first and keep doing that until we get to the ultimate 3 that's the right set. The Teaks version, what it does is operates as one continuous flow.
Yeah, you don't want the toe of the shoe to come immediately before the heel.
I mean, that would be kind of weird if it was a puzzle.
Might get you to think about it more.
That's true. But you know, something else I've seen for this is for service providers like Care, they've done like a before and after.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So Facebook lead ads. This is kind of an example of what it would look like. When you're using a Facebook lead ad, you're asking people to sign up for something off-site. These are integrated with your CRM, and you can either do the CRM integration or you can export a list and manually integrate it so you can upload it to your email list. Circle is currently developing an integration that will let people automatically add lead ad subscribers to their Circle. And it's something that we've been testing a lot to build up one of our channels. So this is an example of a lead ad that we're currently running. It's one of, I think, 8 iterations of the art that we're testing, 10 iterations of the art that we're testing, when I think about it. So that ties into the testing. We're trying to figure out copy, image that are helping to convert people the most to join our internal communications newsletter called Internal Comms Pro. We're trying to figure out, we're using the testing to get that cost per lead as low as possible, and trying to build up the relevance score of the ad.
Right, so Facebook in the ads platform is showing that what is the most relevant, what is the best leads, and you can turn them on and turn them off and keep going. I see it as you're always regenerating to try to get to the best ultimate version that has the highest conversion for the lowest cost.
Exactly.
So you put a lot of time into creating great content. If you want to continue that engagement with your audience, give calls to action on your site to join your email list. There are a ton of programs that do this. We use Opt-in Monster to collect email addresses from those who view our blog content. What I like about Opt-in Monster is I can tie it to a tag, whatever I've tagged the story, to give the right call to action. So here at Circle, the user gets an industry-specific call to action based on the content type, and that's automatic. Now on the other side, we're giving the newly minted audience member industry-specific Circle curated news that's personalized to them. That's how we're saving time and adding value. But the benefit here, of course, is that we're promising something strong and we're delivering something strong.
Mm-hmm. We just got a question about some of the ad types, if you don't mind taking go into that. But the question is, do Canvas and Carousel ads do better than posting a picture post? Not for interaction, but how Facebook distributes it. And I think that's all tied to the relevance score, not necessarily the ad type. So the relevance score is how Facebook gauges the relevance of your ad for your specific target audience.
Mm-hmm. Right, so you set your target audience, you say this is who we want to talk to, and they just start displaying your ad, then they assign a relevance score to say, oh, this ad seems to do really well with these people, it matches well.
But interaction is part of how the relevance score is created. So if they are getting better interaction, it should have a positive effect on your relevance score and help with further distribution and lower the cost per impression. But
this is what we're testing right now, is we're looking at a carousel ad versus 5 iterations of a single picture post for the same post. And ultimately, I'm trying to determine, this is something I'm testing right now, what is better? Is it better to have 5 versions and let that work itself out, or better to spend the time on the front to make a carousel? Preliminarily, the carousel is outperforming by a long shot any of the single picture posts singularly and as a group.
Yeah, the cost per impression for that is just beautiful. Right,
it is a very good cost per impression.
The way that Circle handles getting leads to your site or to your list after they view some content on Facebook is we have something called the content archive. It's what it sounds like. It's all of the stories that you have available to your audience on the Circle platform. So when a person visits the content archive from any of your social networks, they are prompted by this adorable dog asking you to sign up. It's a really low barrier to entry form as well to streamline the process. We're just asking people for emails here. They can give us more information later if they're interested. But we've seen this have a great application for media companies, nonprofits, and a lot more to drive their social audience to their newsletter. So you're not just hoping that they see your post, you're now actually having them in your list, able to send out email and get advanced metrics on how people are interacting, which will just make everything a lot smoother and easier for you going forward. And something that we're using, as you can tell, to build up the internal Comms Pro newsletter like we were discussing earlier. One thing that we really like seeing as well are running a contest. It's a great way to gain subscribers and drive them to your website to get their contact information. One major caveat here, though, is to make sure that you're setting up the contest in a way that will separate possible customers from people that are just looking to win, let's say, a $100 gift card to target as a prize. With a prize with high value that's not directly related to your brand, you're going to get a lot of people that enter, but you have no guarantee that they are actually interested in your product or service. So make sure that you align your prize with your organization and your target audience. The example up here from the Circle customer, Allen County Public Library, I think is pretty awesome. It does a lot of things really well. So they called it Win a Blind Date with a Book, and the way that the contest basically worked is you went to a local coffee shop, and the first person who said, "I'm here for my blind date," won a cool swag bag, a book.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee. And I think it's so tailor-made for that audience.
I think it's a really great fit. It's a public-private partnership. It is extending the reach. Perhaps the Friendly Fox shared this post, so it understands its audience, and I think it's really awesome.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, have you run a contest on Facebook? People are jumping at this one. Very cool. I'll give you everyone about 10 more seconds to answer. Thank you so much for all of the participation today. All right, cool. Thank you. I'm going to share the results now. Okay, so about half have not, but then 29% have, and 25% are thinking about it. I think it's pretty natural to have that kind of split. It will depend on your organization, what you're trying to do. If you're trying to build your list, though, it's a great way of doing that, just as long as you take the steps to make sure that it works well with your audience.
And that it operates outside of Facebook. It operates instead on your website.
Yeah, Facebook's really just one channel to promote it.
Another way to do this is offering exclusive content. It's a great way to get your audience involved with your organization, get your followers feeling like they're in the know, plus you can learn for free. So you can offer content like downloadable guides or webinars. They're a great way to interact with your audience. Make sure the landing page is perfect for mobile. This is my thing. This is my A/B testing.
Yes,
mobile is. 56.5% of Facebook users only use mobile. So remember, anything you post on Facebook has to work there. Same way with your download.
So this is all about using your list for engagement. We give you some tips about how to boost your list and get people to join it. So this is really about how to get the most out of it now that you have them there. Before we get started, just our final poll question for you. Are you currently maintaining an email list for engagement? We are down to 10 minutes as well, so to make sure that we get some questions in, I'm going to cap this one off at 15 seconds. So 5 seconds remaining. Thank you everyone for getting to us so quickly though. Great, well thank you very much. Here are the results. Oh, that's beautiful to see. 64%, about 2/3 of you are using an email list for engaging your audience. About a third are not. And then we have 5% who are thinking about it. Very cool, thank you. So, like I said, by now we can engage off of social and not hope that the algorithm rolls in our favor for people to share the content. We know that they're going to get the content and have really robust analytics on the back end to prove it.
So Facebook's analytics are great, and they're a great place to start, but when you have more control of your audience offsite, you can start to track and maximize your KPIs. You can look at page views, your gains, your times on site, your opens, your click-through rates, your engagement. You just want to log those somewhere and watch them grow. Make sure that everything that you're doing on Facebook supports your core business mission.
Yes. One thing that I love that we do here at Circle is provide people really deep insight into what they're getting in terms of content, or what's working in terms of content, to be more specific. So in the Circle Insights, we have two really cool tables that I just kind of fell in love with when I started here. One is the most popular category. So it's showing you what categories are working best with your audience. We take it a step further and have category opportunities. So based on your readers' interest data, we're able to see what they are interested in reading, but you haven't served them in a 30-day period or more. So if you were running this circle, you would see that you might want to start creating some content that's related to travel or alumni engagement, so that way you can bring even more people in to increase your audience reach and really serve them what they're interested in.
So now that you're enriching engagement off the Facebook platform, you can begin to get a lot more strategic about your marketing approach. Facebook can be back to being part of your marketing strategy and not the corner of said strategy. And I think we've all experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
You lean on one channel too heavy, and then you've got to kind of course correct. So when you start to develop your offline engagement channels, off Facebook engagement channels, like your website, your email list, your Vimeo, whatever it might be, you don't have to pay each time you want to reach your audience, and you can focus on making great scalable engagement solutions.
Yeah, and you can start putting in things like invitations to webinars, or if you're running a contest, you can include that content with your list. That way you're really getting the most out of it and bringing people along so that they can hopefully at some point convert into a customer, member, whatever the goal of your organization is. If you're interested in learning more about Circle, you're obviously welcome to schedule a demo. You can reach out to Rachel or I. We'd be happy to put you in contact with one of our engagement specialists, or you can email sales@circle.com or go to circle.com/demo.
So our next webinar is going to be April 18th, and we'll be covering some of our favorite methods for growing your email list. You can RSVP by filling out today's post-webinar survey, or you can just let Barry know.
Yeah, it's true.
He'll put you on the list.
I would be happy to. So thank you very much for sharing the last 54 minutes with us. We have about 6 more that we can take your questions. So we're going to turn the camera on. Let's see if Rachel and I have drifted apart from each other on the screen.
Probably. We're kind of a fit to
Oh, we stayed. Look at us. All right. Well, thank you everyone who's submitted questions thus far. I'm going to be pulling up some more of them right now. That is a very large screen behind us. So
it is.
I apologize. It looks like I'm looking too far away. Oh, I love this question. I don't have much time to keep up with my social media accounts. Mm-hmm. Fair. Do you have any suggestions on how to make it more manageable? I know you work with a lot of tools for it.
So one thing that I use is Buffer, and I use that to schedule posts on all of our social media channels. But there are certain things that have to be done natively, so it's still a big time commitment anytime that you're choosing to add or maintain a channel. So it's always something to think about before you start a new one. Something that we work on a lot here at Circle is process, so that we know exactly where things can go depending on what kind of content they are. So developing processes, although time consuming, can be really helpful in those those moments where you don't have time. Yeah. You know exactly what you should be doing. And that's something you can also offload to someone else when you trust them.
Speaking of offloading to somebody else and having a lot of time constraints,
yes.
We don't have a designer on staff. Mm-hmm. Are there any good services you recommend? There's so much out there. I know we were talking last Friday about a brand new one that popped up in the Cincinnati area. I believe called Sawa.
Mm-hmm. S-A-W-A.
Yes, like Devin Sawa, any 90s are out there. But they are doing like really cool things, and I think right now the pricing is actually pretty reasonable. Very reasonable. It's a recent startup, and so they're looking to increase their user base. But then there's like Canva. I know you use a lot.
So we use Canva, and we use We also use some video creation tools. We've used Animoto, we've used Ripple, and we've used Adobe Spark. And then there are also some solutions online where you can pay monthly to have a designer, and it could be a lower cost.
Yeah.
But when you can, get a designer because they are amazing.
Yeah,
they are gifts.
We're blessed to have
We're
one
very
who's really
blessed.
amazing. So how often do you recommend posting on Facebook? Multiple times, daily, weekly?
So in the Buffer case study that we talked about earlier, something that Buffer discovered is that for a long time it was like post, 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 post. And I remember that period of time where you must post 7 times a day. They were finding that they were getting better engagement when they were posting less.
Yeah, which I found was interesting. Like I said, if you're not creating, the noise might help you break through it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think, test.
And also look at your statistics to see when people are using it.
So if we're running an ad campaign through a marketing partner, is it still worth it to create a Canvas ad in-house, or will it be drowned out by the larger campaign? That is an interesting question. So I think you're going to have, I hate saying it again.
You're going to say the T word?
I think I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I think you're going to have to test it. See if it's working with if it's drowning. I know for the lead ad that we were discussing earlier, I do have some ads that just aren't displaying for some reason. Mm-hmm. So they're still stuck at like 75 impressions. So I know there's a time commitment to creating something as intricate as a Canvas ad, but if you have the opportunity, the resources, definitely test it to see if it works, because if you can start bringing some of that stuff in-house, it would probably just be all the better for your company.
And also you're probably targeting different audiences. If the partner is running it through an audience they created, an audience that you create would look a little bit differently. Thinking a lot about your audiences is something on the front end that we can all do a lot better work at.
Definitely. Buffer question for you. I know this is more your world than mine, so I'll read it and you can answer it.
Sure.
Since the link gets shorter, does that affect the link's reach? From other colleagues, I've heard it's better to post a long link directly in Facebook, even if you schedule it.
Okay, so with Buffer, you have the option to turn the link shortening on or off, but it depends on the post type. On Facebook, it's going to open to that default image. If you have an image associated with the blog or whatever kind of content you're sharing, then it'll open it up. That's called an OG tag, and it shows the image in the preview that you set within that blog or that piece of content, whatever it might be. So it's going to automatically open up. If you designate a photo and then put the link, then that's the way it will appear. So I would say using Facebook's default link sharing within Buffer would be better. Something that Barry set up that was like awesome was the link shortening through Bitly.
Yes.
So you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so with Bitly, even on the free accounts, which is pretty amazing, you can link it to one of the URL of your choosing, so that you can have your own branded link shortener. So ours is circle.in.
Circle.in.
Which we find adorable. But it's so easy and cheap to set up, and it's a great way of adding an additional level of branding. I know that we use a fair amount of tracking links, and it helps get rid of the ugly UTM codes at the end of it. So I think we have time for just one more. Sure. Thank you everyone for the participation. Yes. If we didn't get to you, I will certainly be following up by email. So this one is, I'm afraid my audience will be turned off by pop-ups to get their contact info. Are there other options? Such
a great question. And this is something that Barry and I often talk about is what is the best one? I'm going to use Barry's keyword and say test it. With OptiMonster and a lot other of those kind of services, they offer like a sidebar or a below content. So we're using both the below content and the popover, and I'm testing them against each other. They're delivering results at about the same pace. And in some cases, I think it's specific to the audience, what their appetite is for that. Marketing people, for instance, when we're out searching for information, it's almost a given that we're going to get that pop-up. But if you have a more technically sensitive audience, it can feel intrusive. So knowing your audience is really important here and who your average user is. And if you think a popover is too aggressive, use a pop up or under so that it doesn't take over the content.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. I know OptiMonster is really robust, and there's a lot of other tools out there that you can look into as well. Yeah. All right, well, thank you all so very much. This has been a lot of fun. We know we have some more questions to get to, but we're out of time, and I will let you get back to work. So expect an email from one of us if we didn't get to your question, and you'll have an opportunity to sign up for our next webinar if you want to dig in more into building your list. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.